I have no doubt Doing a mic check. Can you hear us down there in Vegas?
Loud and clear, Chris.
Thanks, Jeff. So are you. Thank you.
Perfect.
Yes, sir. Oh my gosh. I have my phone on quiet. It's not? What?
Thank you.
No, we can hear you in here.
That all did not include me.
Oh, there you go.
Who do we have, who's present there in Carson?
Governor, this is Chris Sewell. And we have Bob Potts and the whole gang.
Well, who's the whole gang?
Before people tell us.
Steve Scheetz here.
Who?
Steve Scheetz, research manager. And
Bob Potts is here and
Madeline Armstrong.
Okay, but you're the only board member.
only board
I'm-
member.
I'm
Chris is the only
board
board
member,
member here, so.
All right, we'll get going here if everybody's ready. First of all, do we have a form for it?
no.
Yeah, real nice to see you. How are you?
Great.
You're allowed to talk.
It's the first time you've been shy, I will say that.
It's great to see you.
All right. Well, we'll kick it off. All right, so let's call to order the Governor's Office Economic Development Board meeting scheduled for today, October 3rd of 2024 at 2 p.m. Melanie, can we go ahead with the roll, please?
We can. Melanie Sheldon for the record, Governor Joe Lombardo,
Here.
Lieutenant Governor Anthony was unable to attend today, Secretary of State Francisco Aguilar,
Here.
thank you, Dr. Weldon Havens,
Here.
Miss Sasha Stevenson was unable to attend, Mr. Jay Barrett,
Present.
thank you, sir, Ms. Yolanda King,
Here.
thank you, Mr. Raymond Speck was unable to attend, Ms. Deborah Jacobs.
Here.
Thank you, Governor. We have a quorum. I'll go on to the nominated voting members. Miss Patricia Charlton. Okay. We have Mr. Crystal.
Do it again.
Present.
Thank you. Miss Joni.
Present.
Thank you. And Dr. Christopher Sanchez.
Present.
Thank you.
All right. Before we move into the first opportunity of public comment, Ms. Jacobs, can you introduce yourself to the board?
I have walked around. I'm Reverend Jacob. I
Welcome.
I beg your pardon?
I said welcome.
Well, thank you.
Has everybody met Deborah?
Yeah.
Yolanda,
I believe
Chris,
everyone
everybody?
has.
Okay. Well, I'm very happy that you are here.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll move into the first opportunity for public comment. Persons wishing to provide public comment remotely may access the meeting by telephone or through the Teams link posted on the agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Public comment will be available at the beginning of the meeting and as the last item of the agenda. If you wish to call in as part of public comments, that phone number being 775-321-6111. The conference ID number in order to receive access is 561-532-634 pound. Do we have any public comment there in Carson City?
No, sir.
Do we have any public comment here in Las Vegas? Seeing none, nothing on phone or elect. Okay. We will go ahead and close public comment and move on to agenda item number 3, approval of the July 25th, 2024 board meeting minutes. Any questions or concerns from any board members on the minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Havens moves to approve the minutes.
Yolanda, second it.
We have a motion on the table. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against? Say nay. James, I didn't hear your vote.
There's not in attendance.
Sorry, Governor. Aye.
Did you say aye?
Aye. Yes.
Okay.
You could talk to Nate about his camera.
Okay, so the motion passes. Sorry for that. We had a little technical difficulties. All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 4, the executive director's update and director's report.
Thank you, Governor.
Director Burns.
Thank you, sir. As you see, we've had a fairly active period of time here in GOED since we've last met. So retirement of one of GOED's founding members, Deputy Director Bob Potts, was announced since we last met. Through his work, Potts helped broaden Nevada's economy, which resulted in diversification to complement the state's historic industries. For several years, Potts convened regular meetings with the state's economic leaders, universities, economic development authorities, political and community leaders, and industry. As a key advisor to multiple governors, he's proved a regular snapshot of the state's economy, preparing timely data points to help make informed decision-making process. Bob has been an invaluable asset to the Nevada State economic development efforts, and will truly be missed. So Bob is here to at least a chance for us to acknowledge him and say goodbye. We had a lovely lunch with him for the staff about a week ago. And so, Bob, thank you for all you've done and your contributions to GOED and the state of Nevada.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you, Governor. Couple words, can I have a couple words?
Absolutely. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Board. It's been such an honor to be part of this team over the years. It's 12 and a half, 13 years that I've been, had the privilege of being part of all the great things that we've done here at GOED. And the operative word when I talk about this is it's a team, right? This is a team sport, and being able to work with this team has been incredible. This board is part of that team. I actually looked at my records this morning. This is actually the 56th board meeting that I've got to be part of. And as I go back over the horizon, looking at all the things that have been accomplished and fundamentally changed the fabric of our state because of the efforts that have been done as a team with this board, with our regional development authority partners, nobody else has really been a blessing. And I deeply appreciate that. So I'd like to especially call out three board members that have been long-term that have been hugely supportive. I know Ray Spack's on here, but I want to recognize Ray, and I want to recognize Dr. Havens, and I'd like to also recognize Jay as well. It's been really great working with you and all the things you've done. Also, I want to recognize Chris. Chris Sanchez and I have been kind of shoulder to shoulder for the last 12 and a half, 13 years in all this work, and it's been a real pleasure. The last thing I'll mention is retirement. I was thinking about the word retirement and all the other words that start with the word re, right? And I think that's probably better for me is to think about being refreshed, renewed, recreated, restored, rebuild, redo, all those other kind of re's. And my guess is that once I get a few of those under my belt, maybe the next one will be re-engaged. So it's not over yet. So I really appreciate it. Thanks for giving me a few minutes to talk on the record.
Well, again, thank you, Bob. But when we had our get together a week ago, I had to remind everybody that it wasn't a wake or a funeral. Bob's going to be here. So we are fortunate to have access to his knowledge as we go forward. So as we move on, GOED is proud to announce leadership level promotions that mark an exciting new chapter in the agency's future. Dr. Dorian Stoneberger, former Director of Strategy and Public Policy, has been appointed to Deputy Director of the agency. Dorian, could you stand? Just so everybody knows. Alex Backus, former Director of Business Development, has been promoted to Northern Nevada Regional Director and will lead and manage economic and community development for GOED's Carson City office. Mr. Backus has COVID today, so he will regrettably not be joining us. Stephen Wood has served.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Where did he get COVID?
I would prefer not to speculate.
This conference room?
No, because we were all in contact
Yes.
with them up in top.
Yes. It became apparent on Monday afternoon.
Oh, so I must have missed the bullet then.
You might.
All right.
Stephen Wood, who served as Community Government Affairs Manager under Dr. Stoneberger, has assumed Dr. Stoneberger's former position as Director of Strategy and Public Policy for GOED. Their promotions are well-deserved and a testament to the value that they bring to our team. I am very confident they will excel in their new positions and will continue to do great things for our state. There you are, all of that. Led by Senior Director of Business Development, Melanie Sheldon, GOED's business development team closed out fiscal year 2024, procuring more than $1.2 billion in new business investment, 2,573 new jobs, and 3,424 build-out jobs from the 33 companies that were attracted to our state. So far in fiscal year 2025, GOED has assisted 19 companies, creating 671 jobs, initial jobs, 847 build-out jobs, and $1.1 billion in capital investment. The team continues to work closely with the RDAs to attract, retain, and expand business in Nevada, including 3 site visits planning in the upcoming month and 41 companies active in our pipeline. innovation and innovation-based economic development. The UNR Development Award Team submitted its pre-application for a full National Science Foundation engine on August 9th. The project is termed Recharge Nevada, a coalition of energy innovation. On September 10th, the U.S. Department of Treasury announced that GOED has been awarded $4.2 million to help small businesses in key sectors in growing the economy and hiring through the Small Business Credit Initiative, investing in America's Small Business Opportunity Program. GOED's Carson Heinz was architect and wrote the grant application. We were one of 10 awardees in this part, so that's a great win. Apex continues to help small businesses win government contracts between April 16th and July 15th. Apex's women-owned business clients, service disabled veteran clients, and disadvantaged business clients, and those businesses in economically depressed areas won more than $68 million in government contracts. Week from on October 18th, our Apex group will be hosting a group from the Navy, right?
Yes, we are.
Brief comment on it.
Of the Navy, the Office of Small Business Programs is going to be doing how to do business with the U.S. Navy and the Marine Corps. And they'll be providing that programming to Nevada and business at the Clark County government.
Thank you, Joan. GOED's Director of Workforce Development, Elaine Silverstone, organized a panel of impactful education and workforce leaders at the inaugural Nevada Lithium Summit. Leaders from across the lithium loop workforce ecosystem joined the panel. A WIN award has been granted to Great Basin Community College for a geological technician program in the amount of $99,000. The funding will provide a 4-tier geologic technical program that includes 3 skills certificates leading to an Associate of Applied Science degree. The program will begin in the fall of 2024 semester and will continue indefinitely thereafter to train up geological technicians who can support scientists and engineers in exploring and extracting, monitoring natural resources such as rock, water, soil, and natural gas. Employer partners include Newfields, Nevada Gold Mines, and KG Mining, which report $20 to $43 hourly wage career pathways. So one of the things I want to point out there is while that job is below or can be below our state national average, that ecosystem can't survive without those people. So that's their ability to move up to the next level is starting that here. So that's why we hope that. GOED's Community Development Block Grant Program staff hosted the National Council of State Community Development Agencies Conference in Reno from September 15th to the 18th of 2024. Over 37 states participated in the 3-day event. The Nevada Main Street program, which revitalizes downtowns across urban and rural communities, funded 23 of the 40 requested projects as part of the 2024 Main Street Grant Program. At least one project was approved in each of the 16 communities that applied, totaling over $660,000 in awarded funds. The projects include an historical landmark installation, facade improvement programs, high visibility crosswalks, and more. GOED's host, health industry specialist Vance Farrow, worked with the leadership of College of CSN to implement a nursing program pilot program to get practicing clinical nurses credentialed as adjunct faculty at CSN. This is the first cohort of 44 nurses, with 42 completing boot camp. The next cohort will start on November 1st, 2024. GOED was invited to participate in the Roseman University of Health Sciences School of Medicine accreditation site visit with the Liaison Committee of Medical Science. The series of meetings went very well, and we anticipate approval of the medical school in Southern Nevada in February of 2025. Special thank you to the governor for his letter of support on behalf of Roseman University. The international division visited Finnish tech company Abatement at the beginning of September as a follow-up to its initial meeting at Select USA in June. We made the trip to discuss the potential of the company entering the U.S. market via Nevada and to participate in a panel of discussion at the opening of the first customer sample facility. The company specializes in methane splitting hydrogen technology, producing battery-grade graphite as a byproduct, which is a critical component in the battery manufacturing and growing industry in Nevada. The International Division coordinated and planned a network of events and with 3 inbound delegations from Canada, Chile, and Australia for the 2024 Mine Expo Convention in Las Vegas. These efforts will continue to promote Nevada as a leader in the mining industry and support our economic and technological strength. I also hosted in conjunction with the governor's office, the Nevada Lithium Summit, which was organized to advance the state's inaugural role in the lithium supply chain, foster collaboration across sectors and more. The 2-day event attracted more than 300 people, and was
3 million?
3 million. It was really good. Everybody's talking about it. 300 attendees, and it was a huge success, and it was. But I will need to acknowledge the staff, especially Amanda Bocchini, that worked very hard on that and did a great job. We hope that the host summit will continue on and do it as we continue on. GOED has been working on the Global Startup Pilot Program in collaboration with Incheon Startup Park in Seoul, South Korea, and UNLV with its Zero Labs program. The inaugural program will give up to 3 South Korean startups an opportunity to visit Las Vegas for 10 to 14 days to get exposure to U.S. markets for commercialization of their innovative technologies. The collaboration is a direct result of an outreach trip the international team did back in February 24. The Office of Entrepreneurship in June undertook its focus group with the efforts for the underrepresented demographic segments in the geographic areas of Nevada, as required by AB 77 to achieve the best efforts depiction of entrepreneurship in the state. Building and on statewide community consultations in the spring and deep dive sessions were held over the summer with diversity groups across the state. A California Nevada Future Engine pre-proposal was submitted to the National Science Foundation in August, which will be facilitated by the Office of Entrepreneurship, the Desert Research Institute, and UNR Business of Environmental Programs. Focusing on the strengthen economic opportunities and resilience for rural food producing areas, the pre-proposal continues Nevada's 3rd entry into the NSF Regional Innovation Engines Program. If awarded, the North Central California and Northern Nevada stands to receive considerable economic, social, and environmental benefits. GOED also sponsored Reno Startup Week in September, which showcased several GOED divisions and areas of experience. GOED's Kaima Pert, Tammy Westergaard, and Joe Nieberg all participated in panels discussing their respective roles with GOED and how the programs can assist entrepreneurs across the state. Governor, that concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Director Burns. Do any board members have any comments or questions of Director Burns on the director's report?
I have a comment, Governor.
Go ahead, Chris.
I just want to recognize Bob, and Bob and I are hired 2 weeks apart back in 2012. Bob beat me by 2 weeks or 14 days coming into GOED, and it's been a while.
You know that.
What's that?
Because it's been really strong.
Why do I know that?
Yeah.
Because, well, I don't know. Stupid.
Bob reminds you.
Yeah. Well, Bob did remind me, he outranked me by 14 days. But it's been a wild ride, and you know, thinking back to that time in 2012, and I know all of you lived it, but we had 14.1% unemployment. We had the highest foreclosure rate in the country, and we were at that time seeking to create 50,000 jobs, or at least an environment where we could create 50,000 jobs. And it's been a lot's happened, and then of course the pandemic. And so, you know, Bob and I worked together very closely over that entire period. So I'm happy for you, Bob. I know you're on to great things, and I know we'll hear more from you, and I look forward to that. And it's been a pleasure to work with you. So thanks for your service.
Thank you for those comments, Chris. Anybody else?
I also want to congratulate Bob on his semi-retirement. He's opened up the Economic Committee to board members who want to sit in. It's been a great learning experience. And also want to give kudos out to Melanie Sheldon to have $1.2 billion in new business and thousands of new jobs created. Congratulate you on a great 2024.
Thank you.
Just for clarification, Doc, it's 2.3 billion.
2.3 billion? Mine says 1.2.
Yeah, but you got to add in the second fiscal year.
Ah,
If you read the second paragraph.
okay.
I don't want to shortchange
You're
her.
good.
That's a big number.
It's a big number.
You should be very proud of that. So I had a question of you, Director
Yes, sir.
Burns. I think you changed the narrative associated with the lithium summit. Do you want to expound on that a little bit?
Sure. The Lithium Summit was 2 days, it was this past Sunday, Monday, and again, we had over 300 people from across higher education, industry, and government. We received really tremendous feedback about the quality of our panels that talked about everything from the supply chain to safety, national defense, other issues that are addressing the lithium world. We had great speakers, including the governor. We had Jonathan Evans, who is the president of Lithium America, was also there, and they were all terrific.
JB.
Yep.
Stroll.
Yeah, the president of Redwood was also there. So really high quality speakers, and the feedback we got a number of times, especially from some of our important attendees, because we had folks from all throughout Europe that were attending, and they were marveled by the collaboration between government, higher education, and industries that went on there, and got a lot of great feedback. So it was, and again, a credit to the team that did that. They pulled it together in a very short period of time and put on a very high quality event. So it was truly very proud moment.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Governor, I have a question.
Go ahead, sir.
So it just came from startup to Vegas.
Tech.
No, startup Las Vegas.
Okay.
Event. It was really, really impressive. What is the relationship between Startup Reno, Startup Vegas, and GOED? Because who they had there at that event, Reno, was really, really impressive.
I was there last night.
Okay.
In fact, and often I attended last year, just the timing of this year and the day of the board meeting. We don't have a formal, we certainly work in concert with them. Heather Brown is on the board of the Tech Summit, and is obviously an employee at LVGEA, so we stay in touch with them.
But is there cross coordination in recruiting those individuals that were there versus?
I mean, that was the reason for my attendance, and we do stay in touch with them. Yeah, and yeah, we don't have a formal relation.
It just seemed like there was a lot of effort with a lot of really.
It's a very impressive
people that are.
It is a very impressive group. It is they do a great job of putting it.
I'm just wondering if we're leveraging that opportunity to do greater expansive.
So we certainly stay in touch with Benny and Heather, who are the people that put it on together, and they're the ones that are part of that as we come in. So we could probably do it, but we could probably mine that a little more aggressively. But
yeah, I mean, they're here. 90% of them were outside Nevada.
Agreed. And 90% of that 90% don't have any money either.
But also, so you know, there's a unicorn.
No, you know.
And if they don't have the money, then they're cheaper to recruit.
Yeah.
But it's the talent
Yeah.
that's behind a lot of the
I would
operations.
think so.
No, but capital is a hard thing to come by.
Yeah,
It's
especially today.
to it.
Yeah.
And you never know. They just go back to Estonia and, they would eat this up in a second. And what their efforts are doing is something I think we could replicate because they have a higher return of unicorns than any other, I guess, business community across the world. And so.
Agreed. Okay. Thanks. Yep.
How do you know that?
Because I went there.
To the startup or?
I went to Estonia.
So they talk, oh, you went to Estonia.
Because they are the most digitized government in the world. And the way they operate as a government from an efficiency standpoint is extremely fascinating. And they also want to be the global leaders in corporate filings, which is a direct competition to us. And so I wanted to know what they were doing that we could do to beat them.
So one other question, Director Burns. You mentioned the NSF.
Yes.
Program, and
Yep.
we're going into a third phase of application.
Yes.
Do you have any dates on that?
This pre-application was just filed.
Oh, it was.
Yes.
So I didn't have to sign off on the application?
Not on that one, because we have to get to the next phase before we have to.
Okay.
Concept has to be approved.
Do you have any idea when an award will be made?
I don't, but I can find out.
Okay. All right, any further comments or questions?
Those are your
Welcome. No, you're fine. Melanie, for the record. Okay, we'll close the executive director's report and move on to agenda item number 5, Nevada film tax credits overview. Director Spurgeon.
Well, thank you, Director Burns, and thank you, Governor and Secretary State Aguilar, members of the board, for inviting me to speak with you today about film tax credits. It's shaping up to be a big topic of conversation in the upcoming legislature. And while I'm not going to talk on any of the proposals you may have heard about in the news, I'm not going to talk about that today. I will talk about our current tax incentive program that Nevada currently offers and provide details and information on how that currently operates, hopefully to give you a basis of understanding or some additional context for when these conversations continue as we get into the legislature next year. So to get started, I will first share a little bit about just the Nevada Film Office and what we do, perhaps. I'll just keep going. So we are a division of economic development because film productions hire local crew members. They contribute to jobs as well as direct spending within a local economy for that economic impact. We are a free service. We're a service provider. We're a free resource for the industry to operate within the state. Most states and some regional areas have some type of film office, and we all offer very similar services to both the film industry, and we act as the conduit within government itself for the industry as well. And we do this by a few primary ways. We maintain a locations database on our website of film-friendly locations. So if you want to film on a practical location, it's called, as opposed to filming on a studio. In a practical location, you need film permits, you need the permission of the property owner, and we help identify those locations, such as private businesses, public parks, things like that. We also maintain a crew and services directory on our website where local crew members and local vendors specializing in the film and entertainment industry, they list their services that are available, and we help make those connections with the productions coming into town and needing those. So we make those connections so that the productions have a successful time filming in our state and want to return and spend more money. And of course, we also administer the state's film tax incentive program, and I'll get more into those details now. So to get started, our current program was passed during the 2013 legislative session and went into effect on January 1st of 2014. So it's been around for 10 years now. And qualified productions such as feature films, television shows, which includes game shows, talk shows, reality shows, things like that, commercials, music videos, documentaries. These are qualified production types that can qualify for our program. In order to apply, the production has to spend at least $500,000 and at least 60% of their overall budget in the state of Nevada. And the way they can earn or the qualified spend are things like rentals and purchases made from Nevada businesses, the local crew that's hired, hotel rooms, car rentals, certain transportation costs. All of these are considered qualified costs and can earn a 15% tax credit based on that spend. For non-Nevada residents, above the line cast and crew qualify at a lower rate of 12%, and below the line do not qualify for our program if you are not a Nevada resident. And just to give you a little definition on what that means, above the line and below the line are common industry terms. The above the line people are things like actors, directors, producers. Below the line folks are your crew members, so grips and gaffers, hair, makeup, wardrobe, production assistants, things like that. So another way to think about it is when you're watching a film, the names you see at the beginning of the credits during the opening sequence, those tend to be your above the line folks. And then the credits that roll in on the end, that tend to be very long if you're a Marvel movie, those are your below the line folks. So we don't qualify those who are not Nevada residents if you're below the line. And let's see, we have two bonuses available, an additional 5% if greater than 50% of those below the line crew members are Nevada residents, and that's calculated based on hours worked, with extras, background extras, you know, the people just in a big scene, those do not qualify for the count towards that bonus calculation. And then we also have another 5% if greater than 50% of the filming days occur in a qualified rural county, and I'm going to this is unnecessarily complicated, so I'm going to read this right here. Okay, so a qualified rural county is defined as any Nevada county that in the 2 years immediately preceding the date of the application incurred less than 10 million in qualified expenditures from incentive productions. So right now, based on that definition, any county outside of Clark County qualifies for our rural county bonus, and we did have 2 productions this year filmed in Washoe County and qualified for our bonus. Our rural county bonus. So if you achieve one bonus, both bonuses, you can get from 15% up to 20% or 25% if you qualify for both. All right, next slide. And now I'll talk a little bit about the incentive process. To start, you have to submit an application before the start of principal photography to our office. That application consists of, you know, a basic application as well as a synopsis or a script of the project, the proof of financing, a summary budget, and an economic impact statement. So the production saying how this benefits the state of Nevada, as well as distribution information that's planned for the production. So after the application is received, we review all materials, make sure they are in line with our law and our regulations. And then we hold a public hearing, and that public hearing essentially reads their application into public record. After the hearing, the application is submitted to the executive director of GOED for approval. And as long as sufficient funds are available, they do tend to be approved. Once the productions are approved into the program, they'll come, they'll film, they'll spend their money, hire the local crew. We'll capture all of that benefit that we're intended to capture with the purpose of this incentive. And after that's done, they have 18 months to complete their production. So from the time they start principal photography, they have 18 months to finish. Once they're done, they have to complete a required audit. We have a list of 6 auditors that are approved to work on our program, and they verify that all of the costs associated with this production are real, that they're in line with typical production spending, that we're not incentivizing things that shouldn't be incentivized, things of that nature.
Hey,
And then
Kim, before you go for, why 18 months?
We don't want productions to last too long, to tie
Why
up
not?
fund. Well, we only have 10 million in funding available.
Oh.
So we want to make sure that that funding is used timely and wisely to get the maximum benefit. Most productions, 18 months is more than sufficient time. Only on a production like a Marvel movie with heavy post and VFX would you see something taking longer than that after principal photography starts. Does that answer?
Thank you.
Okay. So once we have the audit and that's approved, the actual credit is issued. So when the production applies, they say, I think I'm going to spend about this much money. Once the audit is received, we adjust that amount of credits they actually get. So they only receive credits for what they've earned. And that those tax credits are transferred to taxation or gaming control based on how they're used. And I will go into the different tax types that are available. So in Nevada, these tax credits can only be used towards certain tax types. And these are tax types that are not paid by production companies earning the credits. So they have to sell that credit to someone who can use it. And someone who can use it is let's see, we have the modified business tax, the insurance premium tax, the bank branch excise tax, and the monthly gaming fee that are due. So those are the tax types in Nevada that these credits can be used towards. So the production will either work with a broker or not. It's not required to use a broker, but we do have brokers who work with our program and have clients who use these types of tax credits. And actually search out and try to buy them. So the production will monetize their credit by selling it to someone who can use the credit, usually at a rate of around 90 cents on the dollar. So the buyer of the credit will save money on their taxes by only paying 90 cents to the production company versus 100% to the state. And then the production monetizes that credit by getting paid by the buyer. So once these credits are sold, again, they're redeemed by either the Department of Taxation or the Gaming Control Board, depending on what tax type these credits are used towards, based on what the buyer needs to use them for. And they expire 4 years after the date of issuance. And now that I've explained a little bit about how our tax incentive program works, now I'll point out what they look like on a national level. So most states have some kind of film tax incentive program, and many foreign territories have them as well. Across the world, there's around 120 different programs worldwide, and they vary a lot based on the amount they offer as well as how they operate. So many programs offer a rebate or a grant, which is just the state writes a check for the amount that they've earned based on their program rules. Other states offer a refundable tax credit. So for instance, in a state like Louisiana, they offer a refundable credit. If the production itself can't use that tax credit as a refundable credit, they can buy it back from the state at a discounted rate of 90 cents on the dollar. So it kind of works similarly to a rebate or grant in that way. And then of course you have transferable tax credits, which is what Nevada has here. Let's see. And we already talked about the tax types it can be used towards. So the programs also vary a lot on the amount of funding they offer for the production. So on one end of the spectrum, you have a state like Georgia. Their program is uncapped. They have no annual funding cap. And last year they awarded $1.3 billion to productions that earned their film tax credit. A state like New York recently increased their funding from $400 million a year to $700 million a year. So again, it varies widely. If you look at a state like Arkansas, that's only for $4 million in funding, or Colorado has $5 million in funding. So of the programs nationwide that have some type of program, only a handful are funded at a lower amount than Nevada's current $10 million in annual funding. So for a state like New Mexico, I'll pick on them just a little bit and explain their program. They are funded at $125 million a year, but they also have a separate pot of uncapped funds for those that they've designated as studio partners within the state. So in 2019, the state made a deal with Netflix, where Netflix made a significant investment in infrastructure in the Albuquerque studios that was shuttered at the time. It was being unused. So Netflix says, we're going to make this CapEx investment in this studio space in the state. And as a result, we would like access to uncapped funds. So the state voted and agreed. And now they have 3 total, what they call studio partners. So those who have committed to invest in infrastructure in the state, and now they have uncapped credits for those productions that film in that infrastructure space. And I'll just point out that as a close competitor to Nevada in both proximity and landscape, New Mexico has taken quite a bit of business from our state. So let's see, Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, which was a feature film. They came and did LiDAR technology of the strip and recreated the strip in a virtual environment, and then filmed all of that on a stage in New Mexico. The same with Netflix's TV series called Obliterated that came out last year, or Fox's The Cleaning Lady. They'll come and do exteriors hacks, for instance, the recent Emmy winner. They are actually filming in Las Vegas right now, but they are only filming, I think, for about 2 weeks, just getting the exteriors and the casino shots before they go film the rest of their program in California. So this landscape is constantly changing as well. This map specifically was published last fall, and already there's an update. Delaware recently passed a small program for their state. So we do compete a lot with other states in terms of what programs they offer. in the industry when a production is deciding where they want to film. There are two aspects that they will evaluate to make that decision. One is the creative, of course, the script. Where is it set? What does the landscape require it to look like? And two is tax incentives. So if, again, for hacks or for the cleaning lady, they decided to film in New Mexico, even though the stories are set in Las Vegas, the tax incentive programs took precedent over their decision on where to film because they decided their bottom line could be saved more in these other states versus Las Vegas, even though the story calls for a Las Vegas setting. Next slide. So our office each year issues an annual report on the activity of the program. We just published our latest report for fiscal year 2024 on Tuesday. So I think board members, you may be missing a link for the 2024 report, but it is up on the website now. So this report includes a more detailed legislative history of the program and an overview, as well as that fiscal year's application data and audit data, and a summary of the economic impact of the productions that filmed during that time frame. We use, for the economic impact, we use an economic impact analysis model that was built by Applied Economics and uses in-plan economic multipliers to calculate the impact of the production spending. Based on the inputs, the model calculates the estimated return in tax revenue to the state, both in state and local taxes. So that includes sales and use tax, modified business tax paid on employees, room tax for hotel nights, car rental taxes, things like that. The model also calculates the economic ROI, which includes the direct, indirect, and induced impacts of the production spend in the region. And depending on the production, at least 50% of their budget will be spent on the cast and crew wages. On some productions, if there are some highly compensated individuals like actors or directors, those wages could account for around 70% of the budget. But then the other 50 to 30% of the budget is on direct spend in various types of businesses within the local economy, your rentals and purchases. A lot of direct spending happens as well. And one thing I'll note is the length of time it takes for a production to move through the program. So when we receive an application, we collect what their anticipated spend is. We don't know what their actual impact is going to be. And so we report that on one side. We have the application side of the data. And then we have the audit side, and that takes a lot of time to get between the pre-production, the filming, the post-production, the audit. It takes around 2 years, give or take. Sometimes we can get a smaller budget in processed faster. The larger productions can take longer to get. So when we report on the fiscal year audit data, it doesn't necessarily mean that the production filmed during that time. It just means that we received the audit and have confirmation of the numbers during that time. So with that, I hope you have a better understanding of how our program works and how it compares on a national level. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any other questions. My office is right down the hall. So Governor, members of the board, Director Burns, thank you so much for inviting me to speak today. Thank you for your time and attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions? Go ahead, Yolanda.
On the credits, the annual allocation of credits, have you had years where some of those credits have expired? I'm assuming they don't roll over from the unused credits don't roll over from year to year.
That is a good question because they do roll over.
Okay.
So we have 10 million in annual funding each year. Any unused credits roll over to future fiscal years. And we currently have around 50 million for new productions to apply.
Okay. And how do you account for, so if you have a production and then that does not meet the 18-month criteria to finish up, do they earn those credits within 18 months and then anything that's into a new 18-month period? Like, how does that work in terms
So we try to manage the productions and make them aware of the different parameters of the program so that they fall within the guidelines. So if a production is approaching that 18-month timeline, we'll make sure they're aware of the deadline. And if they exceed that deadline, that's a cutoff date for them. So they can't incur any further qualified spending after that 18-month period, and they would then need to enter their audit.
Are you finding that productions are wanting to come to Nevada, but because of the 18-month time frame, they realize they're not, they just try to get what they can within the 18 months.
No, most, like I said, most productions are completed within that time frame. When the law was first passed, that time frame was actually 1 year, and we extended it to 18 months based on making sure that there was enough time to allow for these productions to complete their work.
Do you see a need to expand the 18 months?
It depends on the size of the production. If we were able to attract larger productions that do take longer, then perhaps.
Okay, maybe that's something to take a look at depending on the size of the production. Thank you.
So series,
Mhm.
in particular series that can go on for year after year.
In that case, you would apply per season. So a season of a show would typically take place within that 18-month period. And then if the production wanted to come back for the second season or something like that, they could apply again.
Got it. Thank you.
So can I just ask a question? So if the production timeframe is 18 months, tax credits are available for 4 years. What's the, why the lag between the 18 months production and then maybe 1 year out or 6 months or something like that, but the 4 years is kind of.
So the 4 years is based on how long the user of the credit can redeem it within the state. So the production has 18 months to complete their production, in which that time they're incurring the qualified costs. They don't earn the actual credit until that audit has happened. And then once the audit's approved, they'll get their tax credits. And then once that tax credit certificate is issued, that expires 4 years after the date of issuance. Yeah.
One more question.
Well, before you ask the question, please identify yourself.
I'm Yolanda.
No, to the record, not me.
Yolanda King.
So Melanie, are you good with the two previous questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So the credits that are purchased during the 4 year, are you finding that some of those credits are expiring or people aren't using them?
So far, no.
Okay.
And we do report within the annual report. There is a section that specifies the credits issued during fiscal year 24, the credits used, the credits issued in previous fiscal years and used during 24, as well as the credits previously issued and still outstanding. And I think that number for this year is currently at 1.1 million.
Thank you.
So, Kim, for the record, Governor Lombardo, I heard your narrative associated with losing business to other states, okay? And there was also a narrative prior to budget draft requests on modification of our current tax credits. What is the status of that?
We had drafted some minor changes to the current program to just make it a little better, not drastic changes. And I believe Director Burns, if it's correct that we are not currently planning on moving forward with that BDR.
That's correct. Governor, Tom Burns for the record, it didn't make it past staff, so it was.
So you're saying I need to research that?
We'd be happy to help you if you'd like.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Governor, I have some information for you.
Sure.
We got found out, so Tom Burns for the record, that the final application for the NSF engine will be February 11th. We have about 4 months.
Okay. We'll move on to agenda item number 6, the metrics report with Manager Scheetz.
All right, thank you. I will share my screen here. All right, can everybody see that? Wonderful. My name is Steve Scheetz for the record, and Governor, Secretary of State, esteemed board, thank you for having me. I'm going to go over this metrics report here. I'm going to focus primarily on this front page. However, there's subsequent pages that provide a little bit more detail, but this summary is where I'm going to spend most of my attention. And with your permission, after I'm done presenting this, I can roll right into the unemployment, the next agenda item, or if you like, I can stop and we can formally go through that.
Yeah, we'll stop and I'll just put it on the record.
Okay,
It'll be,
sounds good.
it'll be seamless.
Sounds good. So once again, Steve Scheetz for the record. A few things to set the stage here. Now, our regional development authorities, they report to us their metrics on a quarterly basis. Now, because the quarter ended on Monday and I created this report a week or two ago, there hasn't been an opportunity to update these numbers for the full quarter. So this is our year to date through roughly about July, August, with the data that we have at hand. At the next board meeting, these will be revised. In most cases, they're going to go upward. Also, I'd like to point out when Director Burns was going through his report, they differed a little bit from my numbers. And the reason for that is those numbers that he reported in his report were fiscal year. What you're seeing on your screen here are calendar year numbers, so they will look slightly different, but in many regards tells the same story. So with that, we assisted 32 companies between our office and our regional development authorities, our RDAs. And these assisted companies consist of both incentivized, abated companies or non-abated companies, but primarily just companies that we've assisted in some meaningful way, whether it be workforce development efforts, real estate, permitting, et cetera. So that's what you're capturing here. We've got 32 companies year to date. That's up 17%, or four additional companies from the same time period last year. We have initial 2-year jobs. This is the 2-year forecasted job for those 32 companies. And that's 1,687. That's up 13.1% from the same period last year, or roughly about 200 employees, or 200 jobs. The build-out jobs represents our 5-year forecasted jobs. Those are once, they're fully operational. And that is at 2,027. Now that's down pretty significantly from the prior year. However, as we all know, we had a couple of really big wins in 2023. So as we get those figures from our RDAs on the next report, I would imagine this number will fall much more in line with our historical average. Moving on to the average wage. The average wage of those 32 companies and for those 1,687 jobs, the average wage is going to be about $32.57, which is slightly down from the same time period last year. However, it's still slightly above the statewide average wage of $32.51. And that equates to about a $68,000 a year annual salary. And then if we jump down one line to the assisted company investments, that's going to be $1.8 billion. So again, for the same reason as the build-out jobs, it's down pretty significantly. However, I did go back historically and looked up the average for investments for the same year-to-date time period, year after year, and our average is about 1.2 billion. So we're already 600 million to the plus side on that, and that's only going to go up. The next 3 boxes, now that is unchanged from what you saw at the last board meeting, but I wanted to just point out again that the leads and the prospects tend to be very volatile. You can tell from those graphs, it's up one quarter, down the next. But what this is really telling us is that, we've got pretty consistent activity. We got pretty consistent eyeballs looking at our state for potential relocation and expansion efforts. And the one number that people are most concerned with is how many of them actually land here, right? And that's the final box on the right there, the number of wins. So for the quarter, we had 16 wins. Those are companies that either expanded their existing operations or relocated. So, that's up 45.5% from quarter 1 of 2024 and up 33% from quarter 2 of 2023, which equates to about 5 companies and 4 companies respectively. And if we jump down to the 4 boxes down there at the bottom, these are some of the activity going on from our divisions, some of which Director Burns touched on, so I won't go in super depth on this. However, our emerging small business program continues to do great things. I know that small business owners when they're awarded contracts, they really rely heavily on those revenues. And they helped their network of small businesses get 122 contracts to the tune of about $9.6 million. And that's from January through June of 2024. Roughly comes to about a $78,000 average annual contract. The CDBG grants, those are pretty much flat from last year. They've been awarded the same available funds of $2.9 million from the federal government, and they've awarded 6 grants. Those took effect July 1st of this year. But one thing that I kind of wanted to point out was that, you know, they've been recognized for the good work that they're doing, and they recently hosted our 50th annual COSCA conference in September last month, which was a 3-day event where they hosted over 130 people, and we continue to get great feedback from the attendees. So I think that they definitely deserve a pat on the back for that. The Nevada Apex Accelerator Program, these focus primarily more on small business getting contracts with, you know, federal agencies. A lot of them tend to be defense contracts, which is why they're quite a bit larger than the emerging small business contracts. But they helped their network of businesses get 425 contracts for 68.3 million, which is an average of about 228,000 per contract. You'll see their fiscal year 25 reporting period 1, they have a non-standard reporting period. So that's kind of why you're seeing the 3 different bar charts there side by side. And then we obviously just heard the wonderful things that they're doing over at the Nevada Film Office. So I won't go too in depth on there. They got 78 productions. They assisted 204 clients and rounded out the fiscal year with about over $55 million in revenue. I can stop there and answer any questions that you may have.
Have any questions with Mr. Scheetz?
Joan Rubin, for the record, I just wanted to give some clarification.
Can you come up here so they can hear up in Carson City?
Yes, thank you. Joan Rubin, Director of the Nevada Apex Accelerator. I just wanted to provide clarification for the Nevada Apex Accelerator, and so I am the director. So as Steve had pointed out, when it comes to government contracts, we actually help those companies in Nevada go after local, state, and federal government contracts. And they are not just in the aerospace and defense industries, they're for any industry as the state looks to diversify the economy. Thank you.
Steve Scheetz for the record. Thank you for that clarification, Joan. Appreciate it.
All right. So are you done with the whole metrics report? The rest is just for our information?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, perfect. All right, if there's no further questions, we'll move on to agenda item number 7, unemployment rate update. Mr. Scheetz.
Wonderful. Thank you. Once again, Steve Scheetz for the record. The August unemployment rates were released recently, so that's what we're seeing here. Our statewide unemployment rate jumped by 0.1%, landing at 5.5%. We continue to see job growth at about 3% compared to the national growth rate of about 1.5%. So we're basically at double the clip. And the paper that you have there in your packet kind of lists the unemployment by county. The sub-state unemployment rates are not seasonally adjusted. So we use a 12-month moving average to kind of smooth out that seasonality. And under NRS 360-750, it states that, you know, if any county is under, or I'm sorry, 7% or above, and a company wants to apply for abatements and locate in that county, there's just some restricted or some softening of the restrictions on the wage component to the approval process to their application. And as you can see, right now, all of the counties are under 7%. So as of this time, any company throughout the state will have to satisfy 100% of that wage requirement for abatements. And I'm happy to answer any questions for you.
Any questions? Is that a yes? Disco?
No questions. Sorry.
Alonda,
No question.
you usually have a question on this item.
Other than mine will be at 7% pretty soon.
You're correct. All right, if there's no further questions, thank you, Mr. Scheetz. We will move on to agenda item number 8, abatement applications for board approval. And we'll kick it off with, and excuse me if I pronounce it wrong, Inneos LLC, is that correct?
Close enough.
All right, all right.
Good
Is it-
afternoon.
Is Mr. Poinier gonna do the presentation?
I'm going to introduce them and then they will continue with the presentation.
Okay,
afternoon.
go ahead.
Good afternoon, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, Secretary of State, and board members. For the record, my name is Hayden Poinier. I'm a business development coordinator with Northern Nevada Development Authority. I would like to thank this board for considering the abatement application for Inneos LLC. Inneos LLC is a company that specializes in design and manufacturing of fiber optic components for OEMs in the semiconductor industry. Their expansion will include modernizing their existing space as well as a highly specialized equipment for their industry and their location in Nevada. This expansion will create 6 new jobs at the average wage of $39.50 with capital investment of almost $13 million. The company is applying for sales and use tax abatement, modified business tax abatement, and personal property tax abatement. NNDA fully supports this application and respectfully requests the board's approval. Here with me today is Brian Peters, the CEO of Inneos, who is here to talk a little bit more about the company and answer any questions the board might have.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having us. If you don't mind, I'm actually going to do a little bit of show and tell just because it's a little bit of fun. A little bit of background about us as was introduced. The name is Inneos. It really is a blend of innovation and Eos, which is the goddess of light. We are in the photonics world. In effect, that means we build laser-based products. What we do is we have 2 facilities. We have one in California. We have one in Nevada. The California facility assembles products. It's really what we call our finished products. Just to give you a feel, it's about the size of your key fob. Used in a variety of applications, primarily medical, military aircraft, satellite communications, some very high-end stuff. Not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about what we're doing in Nevada. What we do here in Nevada is we are a semiconductor fab. While this device is small by standards, it's fairly large. This is what we do here in Nevada. What I have in my hand, and I'm going to pass it around if you guys are interested, is an array of lasers, each about the size of a grain of salt. So on this device is actually 400 of our lasers. To give you a better feel, these are the wafers that we manufacture. This is a 3-inch wafer. Now, by industry standards, this is more normal. This is a 6-inch wafer. Now, if you remember your high school geometry, the area.
No.
So this was a test. So your area increases with the square of the radius. Why is that important? The expansion that we're doing is really to increase our capacity by changing the style of wafers that we're building. So the equipment that we're investing in, what we've got now, can handle what we call 3-inch wafers. And what we're trying to do is grow our facility by expanding more in the volume without adding a whole lot more cost. And so we're doing that. We're not going to go all the way to 6-inch because that's a big leap. That would probably cost in the neighborhood of $100 to $150 million. We're going to a 4-inch, which is a lot more affordable for a company our size, which is nominally in the neighborhood of $10 to $20 million. So our expansion is geared more towards some growing applications. In particular, while I said we do a lot of stuff in military, warcraft, aircraft, boats, etc. We're moving more into the consumer space. So the automotive, in particular, if you think about, we had a conversation today about EVs, that's a weight issue. And so ripping out all the copper wires and replacing them with fiber optics, that's our space. We need the lasers in order to do that. Same thing with commercial aircraft. So we're growing ourselves into spaces that are well beyond the medical and military industry and much higher volume. And that higher volume is really what's driving our need to try and grow the facility, expand the facility. The way I like to describe this to our current employees is, while it seems small that we're going to be hiring 6 or 8 people here in the next year or so, that's a stepping stone. Really, just to give you a feel, we build about 500,000 lasers a year. We're trying to get to about 20 million lasers a year. What I really want to do is get to about 100 to 300 million lasers a year. So our expansion now is just one step of many stones that we need to cross in order to kind of get to a much bigger facility. Questions you might have for us?
Yes, Mr. Peters, Governor Lombardo, you said you do in Pleasanton, California. That's where you do the final assembly. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's where we build what we call a finished product.
And then, so what do you do in Nevada?
In Nevada, we build the lasers that for the most part go inside this product.
Okay, so I noticed that you're located in Zephyr Cove.
Yeah, yes.
So wouldn't it be, I hate to preach to you as the CEO, but wouldn't it be more economical advantage to you to bring the rest of your company from California and move out of Zephyr Cove? Sorry, Douglas County. But maybe move right into close proximity?
So great question. In effect, the way we are currently structured, it's a happenstance of the companies. I started the company, Inneos, about 10 years ago, Silicon Valley based, a lot of R&D. I bought the facility that's up here in Zephyr Cove. I didn't choose to put it there, it was there. The original founder of that company was a part-time government contractor and a part-time skier. So just a great setup for him. I bought it. It doesn't make sense for us to move it right now. We're still in the phase of trying to grow and establish some key processes. However, your question is a very good one. It's one that's been bounced around our company a lot. And the short answer is it's well within our vision or well within our radar screen to look at combining the manufacturing facilities. We were talking earlier, we used to have a place over in Minden. And ideally, in my mind, I look at Minden as a place. Carson would be another good one, but it's probably a little bit too congested for what we like to do. We like to be a little bit more rural, so we're looking at Minden as a possible consolidation point. But don't get me wrong, that's probably 5 years away because this project alone is going to take us 2 years just to get the equipment bought and installed in Zephyr, and then up and running will take another couple of years.
All right. Well, I appreciate your honesty in that answer, but always keep it in mind.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Mr. Peters, from any board members?
Governor, this is Director Sewell. The employees you're going to be hiring, are you going to be taking them from California to here, or are you going to be hiring them out of Nevada stock?
Out of Nevada stock is our intent. We try and recruit. In fact, we have recruiters that are recruiting locally.
All right. You need to probably talk with our employee NV Business Hub, and we can help you out with that.
I really do appreciate it. We were laughing today. There are some industries where employment is becoming easier. Ours is not. Semiconductor technicians is our most valid resource, and we don't have enough of them. So 2 things that we're trying to do is obviously this and work with you guys to find the people, but the other part is the workforce and the education development. We need more programs to develop technicians in order to, these wafers that I'm holding in my hand are paper thin, and it's a whole skill set, even I'm not qualified to do. So we're looking to develop that skill set.
We can probably help with maybe that training program.
Absolutely love it.
Thank you, Governor.
Secretary Aguilar.
This is Cisco. Question for you. How is TRPA with your expansion of your business?
They've been very cooperative. Certainly we're in the early phases. And what we're doing is generally more efficient than what we have. So the equipment that we have is energy efficient. It's more energy efficient, less gaseous. But no, we certainly have to go through TRPA, and we will keep them up to speed on all the stuff we're doing. But we have a great relationship with them and the fire department and everybody else around us.
Great, thank you.
Any further questions? If there are no more questions, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion from the secretary. A second.
Second.
Yolanda has a second. We have a motion available. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any against, nay? Hearing none, motion passes. Congratulations, Mr. Peters.
Thank you much, everybody.
Thank you for your time. All right, with that being said, we'll move into agenda item number 9. Abatement applications for director approval. Mr. Burns.
Thank you, Governor. Tom Burns for the record. We have 2 companies that have come forth that fall underneath the Executive Director's authority to be approved, and we have approved them. The first one is Clairity Technology, and I'm going to let Mr. Walsh.
No, sir.
Oh, Mitch is going to do it? Yes, sir. All right. Have at it, Mitch.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Governor Lombardo, Secretary of State Aguilar, Executive Director Tom Burns, and board members here. For the record, I'm Mitch Keenan with the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance. I'd like to introduce you to Clairity Technology Incorporated. Present with me today is their CEO and founder, Glenn Meyerowitz. Clairity Tech is requesting the sales and use abatement, the modified business tax abatement, and the personal property tax abatement. Clairity Tech will have a capital equipment investment of $2.5 million. They will hire 15 new employees within the first 24 months of operations at an average wage of $34.27, and a total of 50 full-time employees at an average wage of $42.50 over the next 5 years of operations. Clairity Tech also offers a comprehensive benefits package to their employees. Furthermore, Clairity Tech meets the statutory requirements and has the full support of LVGEA and its partners, which I want to highlight in the room with us today. The city of North Las Vegas and Brittany West is here. They've been a fantastic partner for Glenn and Clairity to find and usher in their organization to their business ecosystem. And furthermore, we have Dr. Michael Bernardo present from SNWA. They are aware of the positive impact Clairity Tech and its technology will have on our environment, long-term sustainability goals. And I want to give you a little tidbit about Clairity Tech because it's a very innovative organization. So Clairity is looking to develop its first commercial facility in Southern Nevada. The organization was founded back in 2022 and currently headquartered in Culver, California. Clairity develops systems for direct air capture of atmospheric CO2 for carbon dioxide removal. Clairity's technology is carbon negative and water positive, generating potable water for local communities and distressed water communities. Clairity will deploy the first end-to-end direct air capture carbon storage project. I would like now to introduce Glenn Meyerowitz, CEO. Glenn will now explain this project in a much more digestible terms than what I just did and tried. So I want to hand it over to you, Glenn, and please tell the board of the organization.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Mitch. Really appreciate everyone taking the time. My name is Glenn Meyerowitz. Good afternoon, Governor, Secretary of State, members of the board. Really excited to be here and to share more about what we're doing. As Mitch said, I'm CEO and founder of Clairity Technology. We are a carbon dioxide removal company based currently in Los Angeles. We've selected Nevada as the site for what's going to be our first commercial pilot facility. And I'm looking forward to share more about our immediate work and then the long-term vision that we have for this region as our projects grow. So first, some background on myself. I'm an engineer. I spent several years working at SpaceX as a test engineer on rocket and spacecraft propulsion systems, sometime in the autonomous vehicle industry and then the medical device industry before transitioning to climate technology in 2021 and founding Clairity Technology in 2022. So what do? You kind of think about our system as a sponge. There's a big fan in the front, blows air over this sponge. It will remove CO2 from the air. And then when we're ready, we can wring out that sponge, collect and concentrate that CO2 and keep it out of the air. There's a handful of things we can do with the CO2 once we've removed it from our system. This can include using it in concrete, so you can improve actually the material properties of concrete. You can use it to generate e-fuels or sustainable aviation fuel, which is in the news a lot these days. Or you can durably sequester that by injecting it underground. Those are three of many, many things that we and others are exploring. Beyond working with carbon dioxide, our system also generates water. Even in the very dry Nevada desert, I was checking the humidity when I came in today, there is a lot more water than CO2 in the air around us. Our system, when we blow air over our sponge material, not only is able to remove that CO2, but we can also extract some of the water vapor from the air to collect, concentrate that, and then generate that as a byproduct for the communities where our projects are sited. So the immediate project that we're working on is going to be a small commercial pilot, probably not much bigger actually than the size of this room that we're in now. And this is thousands of times smaller than what we're going to be looking to build over the next 10, 20, 30 years. So this first project will remove about 100 metric tons of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. That's the equivalent of getting about 20 cars off the road, so not very impactful. What we're working towards by the end of this decade will remove over 1 million tons of CO2, and then that will scale up continually to larger and larger systems. We expect to operate these not just in Nevada, but in places around the entire world, with our hub being in the US Southwest. These projects are going to be extremely expensive. Each one of these is going to require massive, massive capital and operational investments, bring tremendous job opportunities to the regions where these projects operate. And there will be significant financial support from major corporations that we've all heard of for these projects. Companies like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Meta, JP Morgan, I could name more, are interested in supporting work that companies like us are doing to purchase carbon dioxide removal credits or other sustainable products from the systems that we will generate. The federal government has also put together billions of dollars in funding, in matching funding for these projects. It's being distributed to projects de-risk this technology across the US. Currently, that is going to states like Louisiana, Wyoming, and Texas. We are excited to bring a big chunk of that federal matching dollars here to Nevada. Why are we working here? So there's both technical and non-technical reasons why we're excited to develop our technology here, and why Nevada is the perfect place for it, an environment for Clairity as a company to grow and for our technology to scale. First, on the technical side, is that our materials perform best in dry climates. We have been looking at spots in Nevada, Arizona, Eastern California, Utah, New Mexico, outside the US, and locations in Australia, the Middle East, Africa, and parts of Asia. These are, and so we want to make sure as well, as I said, right, we operate best in dry environments, then almost as a coincidence of the chemistry, our systems can generate water. So by co-locating in regions that are water stressed, this benefit from our technology can have the maximum positive impact on the communities and the locations where we deploy. So that's something that we're very, very excited about. Additionally, access to clean energy is really important for what we're looking to build. Nevada has tremendous clean power potential, as you all know better than I do, from geothermal, hydro, of course, wind, tremendous capacity for new solar deployment. We see these resources growing considerably into the future, and something that having, while driving down the costs of these power sources, increasing the reliability, and then reducing the associated emissions of all energy generation will be beneficial not only again for our projects, but then for the entire communities where we generate, where we site our projects. And of course, Nevada is a leader in bringing in federal money from the Inflation Reduction Act. I was just reading a report on this from the last few weeks. Nevada is by far the leader in bringing in the percentage of dollars that have been awarded for clean energy projects and manufacturing projects, and in per capita federal money into the state. We want to be able to bring in even more money into the state to create jobs and spur and grow this new clean green economy. Additionally, Nevada has a diverse and broad workforce that can support the projects that we're doing while enabling the growth of our technology into the future. We've been in conversation with folks from UNLV, the Desert Research Institute, from ASU down in Tempe, and others. And we're really excited to keep growing the workforce that we see as critical to the future projects that we'll be deploying in the region. Thank you all again for the time. I would love to answer any questions you have on the technology and our plans for the area.
Secretary? Yeah, Cisco for the record. So are you using, to build a facility here in Nevada, are you using the existing capital that you have, or do you already have revenue coming in to pay for this project?
We have no revenue for the record.
Okay.
So yes, for the first project that we are going to be developing, we have existing capital that we've raised from investors. So we have adequate capital on hand for the facility that we're talking about. For the future developments that we're working on, we will be raising additional capital for that, both venture-backed capital, investment capital, and then non-dilutive grants and funding opportunities from the U.S. government, for instance, to scale up those technologies in the future.
Okay, so you have enough capital now to build a facility in Nevada?
Exactly.
Once you build that facility, what's your runway for operation?
Our runway once you build that is about 18 months. And I guess just sorry, I wanted to highlight this facility that we build here will be a revenue generating facility. And actually the first revenue generating direct air capture facility in the entire United States. So we're very excited about that as well. Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Ms.
You're going
Jacobs,
into
Ms.
director.
Jacobs. Identify yourself.
I'm sorry, what?
Identify yourself.
For the record.
Deborah Jacob.
There you go.
I knew who it was, but I don't have a name tag. As I see it, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're going into direct air capture, which you have many competitors,
Yes.
and you're also going into atmospheric water capture,
Yes.
of which there are many. There's WaterJet in Israel, many of whom have a lot more seed money than you do.
Yeah.
So I'm particularly curious on the sliding scale of R&D, and I looked at your crew. You've got some brilliant young minds who you've attracted. On the sliding scale of R&D, where are you with respect to the initiated? I know you've raised 6 point some odd million.
Yeah.
To bringing a product to market on that scale, where are you right now?
So the facility that we will be building in North Las Vegas will be a commercial direct air capture facility that will be generating revenue. So this will be the first facility in the United States that is independently certified and able to issue certified carbon removal credits that we will be able to sell to companies like Microsoft, Google, and others. So what we're working on right now will be a commercial ready facility that will then enable us to scale up beyond that. I think we will always be at our core R&D facility, an R&D company that needs to improve the technology to continue to drive down costs. Right now, what we're doing is certainly more expensive than we want it to be, but we see a very clear pathway to having very, very strong commercial scaling opportunities in the coming years.
Do you yet have a ballpark cost on the per ton
right now
carbon that you're going to be able to?
For the first facility that we're putting together, we'll be selling at a cost of about $710 per ton.
Okay, thank you.
Question, Governor.
Sure, go ahead, Chris.
Christina, just for the record, per 500 tons of capture, how many acre feet of water will be produced?
I don't think in acre feet, I can get out my calculator. The first system that we're going to put together is going to be doing a few hundred liters per day of water. So I think we're probably at the fraction of an acre foot a year. If we got to something, I guess, per scale, if we were doing, I think the numbers, when you get to 100,000 tons of CO2 per year, I think that'll be about 1,000 acre feet a year. Maybe this would be a 10th of an acre for the year or something like that.
Okay.
But I can check my unit calculator for you.
Chris is doing it in his head.
Governor.
Thank you.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Joe.
Thank you. Joan Ebert for the record. I'm the state superintendent of public instruction. So I was excited to see you had career and technical academies. You're already working with my colleague who oversees all the higher education. How do you envision that? Are you already working with school districts in LA? Or would this be a new adventure with K-12 in?
This would be a new focus that we're doing here in Nevada. So we've not currently engaged with any academic institutions in California. Something we're very excited to do here and grow that here.
Correct.
Would that be a K through 12?
Yes, and we see that both on the early end and then on the later end as well.
Because you're presently working with UNLV and DRI, right?
Correct.
Right.
Okay, all right.
Which is a natural, sorry, for the record, Patty Charlton, Chancellor, thank you. Which is just a natural pathway with K-12, especially with CTE, particularly with DRI and the heavy lifts that they do in STEM education. So we're looking forward to that.
Definitely.
With that, with Mr. Marks, thank you very much for your presentation. We appreciate you being here. Welcome to Nevada.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is Valencia Pipe Company. Mr. Ponya, you're a busy man today.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, Secretary of State, and board members. For the record, my name is Hayden Poinier. I'm a business development coordinator for Northern Nevada Development Authority. I would like to thank this board for considering this abatement application for Valencia Pipe Company. VPC specializes in manufacturing and distribution of high quality products like pipes, fittings, water heater connections, and roto molding tanks. They are expanding their operations from California to Nevada. This expansion will create 21 new jobs at the average wage of $27.73 and a capital investment of approximately $3 million. This company is applying for reduced sales tax abatement, modified business tax abatement, and personal property tax abatement. NNDA fully supports this application and respectfully requests the board's approval. Here with me today is Michael Buchanan, director of the company, who will talk a little bit more about the company and answer any questions the board has.
Hi, just want to thank the GOED and the NNDA for helping us all along the way for the tax abatement system. It was very business friendly and everybody's been a big help, and it's saved us a lot of time compared to other states that we've been to. So Valencia Pipe Company was founded by Andrew Durbin around 2009, and he started selling different types of metal pipe, galvanized, black pipe, such to Home Depot. And he had prior been president of a pipe company of a large chemical conglomerate. And along the years, Valencia Pipe Company has expanded out, selling lots of different types of plumbing supplies to Home Depot, as Hayden told you. And we expanded into the pipe extrusion business in around 2018. And just a year ago, the pipe division was bought by IPEX. And so with the money that we had from the sale, we looked at different areas that we wanted to expand to. And we decided to go into rotomolding, which is a type of process once you have these huge molds and you put a polyethylene resin in, and it's tumbling around the entire time. And it goes in an oven, it heats up, and you're able to make these large 250-gallon, 3,000-gallon tanks, water tanks and septic tanks. And I would have brought a sample in, but you can imagine trying to carry in a 3,000-gallon tank. So I didn't do that. But what we noticed was we first started the first plant in Miami, Oklahoma. And the process went okay in terms of getting everything done with the local governments and state. But with our process with Nevada, it went a lot more smoothly. We hope to be in production by January. We have around, I think it's a little bit less than 50 acres in Labuska. And we're renovating an old warehouse there. And with the rotomolding, you have to have nowadays state-of-the-art equipment to be environmentally friendly. And so we do have equipment which we aren't using water as a resource. We aren't generating any emissions. So we have a very environmental friendly process. And we hope to expand it into other areas in the future because with Home Depot, as you can know, when you go through the plumbing aisle, they have so many various products, and a lot of times they ask us to go and make them, manufacture them simply so that there's some more competition. And we have been very good at that. And with this plant in Fusca, we hope to expand it to a lot of more areas over the next few years. Right now, everything's moving along. We're just trying in need of a few permits to get through. And once we have those, we'll start the demolition of some of the buildings, and then we'll build a new structure to house the equipment that we bought for this location. And over 90% of the employees will be from the local area. That's it. We lose everybody?
So somebody that's identified as meeting guest, could you adjust your camera?
Is that Jay?
Is it? Jay identified as James Barrett.
That's okay.
All right.
All right, any questions? From any board members on Valencia?
Governor, this is Director Sewell. Just want to make a comment. Our employee NV office is ready to help you with finding employees for your facility when your facility opens up. So
we're definitely going to look in that resource. Hey, and Tatiana, she went over all that with us.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Governor. I have to plug the system whenever I can.
So Chris, did you hear what the RDA said? That they do coach them on that on every application?
Yes, sir.
All right. Just a little hint.
Yes, sir. But I like to,
All right.
I like to.
No, you're doing it. I appreciate it. Don't take offense. All right.
Never. Never.
Is that it?
That's it. Mr. Myers, thank you for picking Nevada and welcome, and we appreciate you having confidence in us. Yes.
Oh, no, Mr. Burr. Okay, yeah, sure. We're going into board member comments now.
Cisco for the record.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Myers.
When these companies like Clairity come in and say they have the capitalization to do the project and for runway to maintain it with employees in operation, do you verify that? Or are they required to put up a bond?
There's no bond.
Okay.
But there's a review of financial statements and some review of financing. Now, can we, or do we have, and we rely a lot on their forecasting, I could say. So do we have the inherently the expertise to say, well, no, you have $10 million and we think you need 12. We don't do that, but we do some basics review of what to do. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we're in board member comments. So any other comments from any other board members? Mr. Barrett, do we still have you? Sorry, we didn't miss him on a vote, did we, at all?
We still have quorum without Jay.
Okay, all right. All right, we'll move on to agenda item 11, Governor Lombardo comments. I just wanted to reiterate some of the color that Director Burns provided on the lithium summit. I think it was a great opportunity to us to take advantage of our economic drivers for future Nevada and the RDAs and GOED themselves were instrumental in getting it done and producing it and bringing a subject matter of the whole process. We quite often talk about the lithium loop, and we seem to get lost more often than not on the beginning of the loop, and that is the mining. So the refining, the manufacturing, and the recycling seems to fail in the discussion. For us to be successful in the loop is going to be inclusive of all four of those items into the future. And that was readily identified in the summit. And how do we get those three other elements up to par of the mining piece? So we're not losing revenue and we're not losing the ability to bolster our economy as a result of lithium. So good job. Good job on that. And hopefully we'll get some further
Great
ability
context.
to move those. And, you know, even the NSF engines and the results of their applications, I think that's a key component of that. So that's the end of my comments. So we'll move into agenda item number 11, second opportunity for public comment. Do we have any public comment there in Carson City, Chris?
No, sir, we do not.
Do we have any public comment here in Las Vegas? Anybody in the room, on the line, on the phone? Nothing? No? Okay, we'll close public comment and move for adjournment. So move.
Yeah.
Do we need a vote on that, Melanie?
Yes.
Yeah, we might as well. Well, we have our DAG here.
Dave, what do you think?
All right, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any against? Yolanda?
Yes, you may hang around.
Or you want to have a TikTok.